Hi, my name is Faith Marie, and I'm hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
This most recent single that you just released, I love how you dive in deeper into your demons with this track, and I really want to know like how someone is able to write something like that and be able to kind of face their fears at the same time throughout it.
So for me, I feel like it has always been therapeutic to write music, and a lot of the time I need to write music to understand what I'm feeling and where I'm coming from, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, so it kind of came about during, I guess, a very transitional period for me, kind of transitioning from being a kid to an adult kind of thing. I wrote it around like 2021, and so it was like a big year for me, and just feeling like I didn't necessarily relate to those parts of myself anymore, but still there was this identity that I attached myself to, you know? And so I guess that song was me writing during the process of figuring out that I am more than my demons, and that, life, it has its ebbs and flows, and I'm always going to be changing and evolving. And uh, because the universe is always changing and evolving, everything is always changing and evolving. And so I guess it's best to accept that and move with it.
I feel like sometimes like when we're in that dark place, it's really hard to have that positive like mindset, especially the title, more than I am. So how difficult was that for you to kind of see that light at the end of the light at the end of the tunnel during this process and experience?
It was really difficult for me for sure, but I practiced a lot of mindfulness during this time, and I did a lot of journaling and morning pages, which is like where you just write down a stream of unfiltered thoughts for 3 pages. Like you're not allowed to uh, stop. Like you just have to go. And even if you're not thinking of anything, you write, I'm not thinking of anything. And things just kind of come out. And so I feel like that a combination of those things kind of helped me to see that light and stay present, and also to understand, I guess not understand because it's a little complicated, but accept my my humanness, my like accept the amazing and the mundane. I feel like as kids we kind of imagine ourselves to be, I guess we don't really know what we are, who we are, and as we're adults we're kind of figuring it out a little bit more, but at the same time we're struggling with existentialism and things like that. And so that kind of helped me wrestle with my thoughts a little bit more.
The fact that you mentioned it was you kind of growing up, going from a kid to now an adult, and you're doing this basically live to an audience with your music. What kind of challenges does that face? And when you go back to your songwriting, do you see that evolve from you writing as a kid to like now you writing as an adult? Do you see your songwriting kind of mature at the same time?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really is like a journal to me. It's absolutely raw and unfiltered, and I write everything uh, from the heart directly. Uh, and in terms of my audience, it was really actually difficult for me because I feel like people attached this brand to me of like this dark, moody person, which I definitely like. Like I was always into emo music and heavier music, and I do love expressing those feelings through art. And I know that throughout my life, throughout my career, I'm going to experience those things and want to tap into it. But also at the same time, I'm not always going to feel that way. I would hope, that I don't always feel that way. And I think it's important to try to heal and grow and come out of those things. And uh, my audience, they related a lot to that time period and those songs that I wrote and those experiences I went through. I had a lot of DMs from people telling me that directly, and paragraphs of people pouring their heart and soul out to me. And it was beautiful, amazing, and also like kind of terrifying at the same time because it definitely put this responsibility on me. I felt like, not that they directly did that, it's just kind of my own interpretation of the situation, if that makes sense. But uh, so with that song, I kind of I wrote it as much for my audience as I did for myself because in that song I kind of am talking about how uh, there's a line like are talking about the demons, are they the only thing that people find interesting? That was like a really intense fear of mine, and it kept me from healing to the extent that I could. But through writing that song, I realized, because it was during the writing process, I realized, I'm going on this journey, and I want my followers to go on this journey with me. And maybe they haven't thought these things through. Maybe they haven't been able to come out of that darkness and see these uh, like see that healing is possible, and that we're more than these experiences. So it became my mission to release that song, and the response has been really, really great. So it's really cool.
I do see that there's two other songs that seem to be fitting in that same kind of package. So I'm assuming this is part of the debut EP. So, can you talk to me a little bit about uh, the other songs, Alleyways and Rock Bottom? And, what is it about this EP? Like, why do you feel like these three come together? What is the story that you feel that like you are living or you were living when you were writing this?
Yeah, so it's kind of cool because, the first song is Rock Bottom, like I'm at rock bottom, and it was a different rock bottom for me because I kind of was like, okay, I get it now. Like, this is life. This is gonna happen. And I can either learn from it or I can, you know, be dragged by life kicking and screaming, There you have no choice. You really don't. Unfortunately, existence and living is pain. So you might as well learn from it and take what you can. And so I that's what rock bottom was to me. It was like, all right, I'm here. Let's do this. And then alleyways was about letting go of my ego and kind of delving into these parts of myself that I needed to work on. And I needed to work on it for me. I needed to heal outside of people's opinions, outside of who everybody else wanted me to be. Because I think growing up as a musician and kind of being, I wouldn't say like a public figure, but I was definitely like always in the public. I was performing a lot. I was releasing music. I was always opening myself up to opinions and criticism, just naturally. It comes with the territory of being an artist. And so Alleyways for me was just like, okay, like screw everyone else. I really need to look at these parts of myself for myself and figure out where these demons are coming from. And kind of, I guess, as a lot of people say now, shadow work. So that's kind of what Alleyways was for me. And then More Than I Am was like, okay, I've kind of broken this down now and I can let it go. Like it's okay. It's okay to let it go because, you know, I'm more. I'm more than all of that.
Do you feel that now that you are basically closing the door to this chapter of your life, do you feel like it's going to change the direction of your music in any way? Or do you feel like this is the kind of style and sound that we would be listening to with Faith's music?
For me, it's hard because I never really create with a genre in mind. It's
Mm.
always just what I envision this song sounding like. And it's difficult because maybe it would be like more marketable if I was just like one specific thing, but that's just not who I am, you know? Yeah. No, exactly. Like I genuinely create what I feel, and I feel like I'm experiencing a very complex thing. You know, existence is very complex, and I want to touch on that. And it's not ever going to be uh I don't know. I guess I shouldn't say it's not ever going to be the same thing because I think that things do come back around, but it's always going to be evolving, that's for sure. And that's going to include pieces from the past as well as new pieces in the future. A lot of the songs that I'm working on right now actually are very uh, symphonic. There's a lot of strings and uh, mixed in with some synth and kind of the style that I've been doing before. So it's really cool. I'm really excited about it. But as as my as I evolve in the future, I want to do everything. Like I want to uh, create in all different on all different spectrums. Honestly,
Well, I'm super excited to see you evolve, whether musically or just like personal as a human, like getting to know yourself a little bit more. Because I feel like the more you get to know yourself, the different or the more we're going to get to hear in your music as well. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Congratulations with More Than I Am, and thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
thank you. Thank you so much for having me and all your kind words. And just this conversation was super cool. I loved all the questions.